no-namers, welcome one, welcome all. Can I get an amen? Now, how about a hallelujah? All right, folks, hold on to your hats. Time for liftoff. Let's go. 6, 5. Come on.
3,
2.
1.
You know the rest.
0. Ignition.
Here we go, amigos.
Liftoff. Liftoff. 30 minutes after the hour.
Get ready. Hold on to your hats. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hats. Get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no name time.
Where?
On Vaughn Radio. It's a show with no name.
Let's go. Welcome, Show with No Namers, Vaughn Radio listeners from all around the world. Fate has brought you here. That's right, not hate. Obvio, no. Fate has brought you here. Te ha traído aquí hoy. Destiny, fate. You can call it whatever you want. We're here together at this moment in time, right here, right now. And we're going to learn, we're going to laugh and make the most of this 2-hour period together that we are blessed with. Bendecido. Yeah, I believe it. We are blessed to be able to have this 2-hour energetic interactive English class, and I feel lucky every day to be here with my show with no namers. I've got one phrasal verb for you. One phrase, well, I'm going to have many throughout the show, but I've got one for you right now, and I think it's for anybody who's in the middle of something, who's, a work in progress, as we all are. Keep it up. That's right. Sigue. Sigue, sigue. Keep it up. Your hard work is paying off. Está dando frutos. Mira, otro phrasal verb. So you've got keep it up, and you've got to pay off. And we haven't even really gotten started yet. All right, well, let's kick off today's show with our pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Come on. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Quiz, 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 quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. ¿Quieres estar al tanto de todas nuestras promociones en la Vaughan Esfera? Well, now you can be in the loop. Puedes estar al tanto. Puedes enterarte de ofertas, novedades y eventos. Y mucho más. Puedes encontrar todo eso en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Eso es, en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Ahí tendrás toda la información de última hora. Guárdalo como favorito. grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. And stay in the loop. That's right, amigos. It's grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados. And as you'll see, you'll have access to a ton of different things. A ton, una tonelada, muchísimo, just by following us on social media. So if you're not doing that now, it's free. And it's a way to make sure that you are getting a little bit of English content every single day. Now, I know you guys are getting it here on Vaughn Radio. And also a quick reminder there, if you ever have a problem where you can't get Vaughn Radio, then you've got a solution. All right? That solution is the app. You'll always be able to access your favorite programs on the Vaughn Radio app. I say that because our friends in Valencia, well, recently we had some bad news. We had to go off the air in Valencia, but that doesn't mean that you have to quit, that you have to stop learning English with us, right? To stop or to quit, más ing es dejar de hacer algo. Lo digo porque he oído gente decir, you have to stop to do that. No, es el inverso de lo que quieres decir. Stop doing that. Deja de hacer eso. Stop to do that es para con el fin de hacer eso. So, it exists, but it doesn't mean the same thing. So, acuérdate de eso siempre. Apúntalo. Take notes. It's a good idea because we go over a lot of things. Stop and quit. Cuando los empleamos con el gerundio. Y es dejar de hacer algo. Right? I'm telling you because in Spanish sé que no es el gerundio. You don't say, deja de haciendo el imbécil. No. You say, deja de hacer el imbécil. Stop being a moron. Right? In English. So, take note. I always say that's like a gift from God. A godsend, as we call it. When you find these little places in the language where we don't agree, because then you can take note. Tomas nota y dices, okay, yo no voy a caer en esta. Tengo que, because at least being aware that it's said differently. Another example of that is, comer patatas me encanta. We don't say eat potatoes I like, right? Eso sería la traducción literal, palabra. We say, eating potatoes is great, ¿no? Me encanta, me flipa, right? So, ahí usaríamos el gerundio y vosotros el infinitivo. And we've got a lot of examples of that. But if you can take note of them, then you're ready for them. It's like false friends. You know, the more you're aware of them, the lower the odds, la probabilidad that you'll fall into those traps. So, amigos, take note, like any good student. You need to have a notebook. You need to be organized. And if you are, then you'll be in the top percentile of my students. Why do I say that? Well, after 20 years, one thing that I have realized throughout the years is my best students, the students who make the most progress, the students who are the most motivated are the ones who are also the most organized. So I can't stress that enough. Get organized, not just in your English life, but I think the more organized we are in life, the less we have to think. I always tell my wife, the reason I try to be so organized is because I'm lazy. Yeah, seriously. I don't want to have to think, where did I put my wallet today? Where did I put I don't want to think. I want to be like, my wallet's over there. It's always there. And if it's not there, something different happened there. Right? So in my case, I've had to get with the program, buenísima expresión, to get with the program es ponerte las pilas and get organized. Estamos usando get muchísimo. By the way, if you haven't heard the FYI episode, remember, FYI is my weekly podcast that I produce. And this season 7, we're taking a look at some of the most common verbs in the English language. And I'll tell you which ones we've looked at so far, because these are verbs you need to know. Yeah, these are the ones and I really go in depth, en profundidad. Remember, you can find FYI for your Inglés, it's called, wherever you get your Vaughn podcasts. So we started season 7 because season 1 through 6, we've looked at a lot of different topics, which is great for those of you who are taking the B2 exams or whatever exams. When you have to talk about a different topic and there's listening, that's exactly what that is. Okay, pues hoy voy a aprender sobre montañas rusas. Mañana Michael Jackson, and you're going to learn about different topics while you learn English. Now, season 7, I decided to change gears a little bit. And instead of looking at a given topic, we take apart. To take apart is to dissect a verb. Y mira, hemos mirado take. So if you've listened to the take episode, then you should know to take apart. We've already looked at the verb to be. Como no? I mean, seriously, to be. Ser o estar. We looked at the verb have. We looked at the verb to make and do. We looked at say and tell. Those are together. Make and do, and say and tell go together. Then we looked at get, read, go. ¿Esta cuál es? To know, conocer. Take. Oh, that's a really important one. To take. Last week, we looked at to come. And this week, every Friday, remember, where we look at, they come out 7 a.m. Now, it might be 7:30, depends on what podcast platform you tune in on. But we're going to take a look at the verb think this week. So remember, you've got so much content. The Vaughn Radio app, you've got all our programs as well, wherever you get podcasts. And then, as many of you know, a lot of us here on Vaughn Radio, well, we have other podcasts and other things, other content that we produce as well. So check it out. You have a wealth, a plethora of amazing content at your fingertips. And if you're looking for more, you can always go over to vaughntienda.com. Vaughn Tienda is our online bookshop. And there you can find some really cool, varied materials. No variados, varied materials. Today, we're going to listen to something from one of my books. It's called This Book is the Milk 2. This is my third book. So let's give it a listen. And as always, I'll have a challenge or two for you afterwards. This audio is from This Book is the Milk 2, written by Damian Moya, a.k.a. also known as Barrancas, and yours truly, un servidor. Enjoy. Damian, put your phone down. We've got to record this episode.
I'm sorry, Alberto. I'm just hooked on this video game.
Hooked on, enganchado. It reminds me of a song.
I'm hooked on a feeling. I
Dude,
love that song.
You're hooked, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm glued to this video game. Estoy viciado.
Yeah, and glued, pegado.
Estoy pegado.
Glue, pegamento.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm
Good
glued.
word. Good
Le pones
word.
una D y ya la tienes. I'm glued.
Oh, man, you're going to start to have arthritis in your thumbs.
What?
Arthritis.
Arthritis.
Vuestro itis es nuestro itis.
Itis.
Conjuntivitis.
Conjunctivitis.
Very good. Sí, el itis
It makes
es
sense.
itis. Hay truquitos así. Vuestro bio es nuestro bio.
Bio, okay.
Right?
Bio.
Oigo este error siempre con el I'm bilingual. Digo, pues no del todo, porque es bilingual.
Bilingual.
Así que bye. So what game are you playing here, man?
Oh, Candy Crush.
Oh,
Don't you
man.
like it?
Oh, man. You're like a little kid with that. All you got to do is walk around crushing candy.
Yeah, it's what it says. It's relax and play Candy Crush.
What you see is what you get, right?
Yeah.
What do you do in the game? You crush candy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do.
Now,
Aplastas a los caramelos.
when you lose, are you crushed? Estás, oh man, I'm
Oh.
crushed.
I'm crushed because I lost. Not too much. No big
And-
deal. Y cuando te enamoras de alguien,
Well, your crush might play Candy Crush as well.
yeah, so you have a crush with the video game too. Estás como pillado por esa persona.
But don't get angry. It's normal. Don't,
Yeah,
you know.
like Angry Birds.
Oh, ahí there's another one that's highly addictive.
Yeah, pretty much. Angry Birds, los pájaros enfadados.
Y tío, qué bien pronuncias birds.
Birds.
Las veces que la gente ha dicho beards o bards o burro, I've heard it all.
A mí siempre me sorprendía mucho que bird rime con word.
Bueno,
Me parece
hay una
increíble.
canción, tío. Bird, bird, bird. Bird is the word. A bucking bird, bird, bird. Bucking bird is the word.
I love that song.
Just remember it. Es como
Mm.
ERD.
Mm.
Y
Bird.
esto es un truco que nosotros aprendíamos inglés así. Haz listas de palabras que riman, aunque no parezcan igual. Word, bird, you know,
Claro, y así vas
nerd.
haciendo
Y dices,
a la
si
idea.
sé hacer esto, pues mira, ya sé. Y
Mm.
siempre en voz alta.
Do you know Diner Dash, the video game?
Yeah,
It's
and I've done
you're
a
a
few.
waitress.
Oh, I didn't know how it goes. No, tell me.
So it's a waitress, and people are coming to your restaurant.
Okay.
You have to seat them, making the most of the seats.
Sure, the space you have. Yeah.
Exactly, to make more money.
Mhm.
And then you have to serve them and try for them not to be angry if you get late
Right. You try to keep them happy, or you
Yeah.
try to please them.
all the time, and you can
Y-
see their faces.
Otra palabra para waiter or waitress, que se puede usar para cualquiera, server.
Server.
Tiene sentido.
Yeah. So Diner
didn't-
Dash.
I've
¿Por
heard
qué
of it.
Diner Dash?
Bueno, diner primero es estos sitios americanos, ¿no?
Ujú.
Que están abiertos 24 horas, 24 hours a day. And to dash is to run. And por eso, de eso lo que te iba a decir antes. I've done a few dine and dashes. I'm not proud of it. I had no money. I was a young kid. The service was horrible. Un simpa, a dine and dash.
Oh, that's a simpa.
Man,
A
bueno,
dine and dash.
comes,
Y
te
corres.
dine, y te piras.
Oh, nice one.
Dine and dash. I did it in Las Vegas once, and I'm so ashamed to admit it, but now at least I'm using it to teach English. And also a diner es un comensal.
Ajá.
So there were many diners in the diner. Lo único, ten cuidado porque esa lleva una N y dinner, lo que es la cena, lleva dos Ns.
Okay. And what's the difference between the dinner and the supper?
Dinner and supper is the same thing.
It's the same
It's
thing.
the same thing, really.
Because la última cena is the last supper.
Yeah. And it reminds me of
So
another word.
you know where it comes from?
No.
It comes from zupa, from sopa.
Guys, you guys are learning Latin,
Yeah.
English, Italian.
Because Romans had sopa for dinner. So that's why, yeah.
Makes sense. And I'm sure in that sopa, there was a dash of oregano.
Oh, yeah, una pizquita, ¿no?
There
A
you
dash
go.
of.
Otro
Una pizca
gusto.
de. Oh, Jesus Christ. We're learning so much with this.
You can learn in the kitchen. You can learn anywhere. Oh, and speaking of the kitchen, ¿cómo se pronuncia chef en inglés?
Chef.
¿Cómo me dirías? Él es un chef que trabaja en Lago Michigan en Chicago.
He's a chef who works in Lake Michigan in Chicago.
Qué bien, tío.
Ooh.
You really did good because en inglés, como habéis visto o como habéis oído, esa CH suena como una SH.
Yeah,
¿no?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah. And the last one, Heyday, that video game. Heyday, it's about a farm.
Heyday. Oh, yeah. Heyday. Well, that's interesting because it has a double meaning. Hey es paja o heno.
Okay.
Okay. And also, your heyday is tu apogeo. El auge.
Okay.
So es el auge y es el día de la paja.
El día de la paja. Yeah,
Which-
I remember that day, dude.
It sounds really weird in Spanish. ¿Conoces Weekend Town? La nueva iniciativa de Vaughan.
Pues no.
Es un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. Y es nuevísimo.
A ver, cuéntame más.
Tendrás una inmersión lingüística total durante 2 días. Un total de 24 horas hablando con angloparlantes de todo el mundo.
¡Wow! ¡Qué interesante!
Ganarás confianza y soltura a la hora de comunicarte en inglés. Mejorarás tu comprensión auditiva y tus habilidades conversacionales en una situación de comunicación real en inglés. Ven a Weekend Town y te sorprenderás con todo lo que puede avanzar tu inglés en un fin de semana. Weekend Town de Vaughan. Un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. More information about Weekend Town, Vaughan Town, Masters, One-to-One Flex, Disney Vaughan English, whatever you want to know about, you can reach out on social media. Also, another place you can reach out is you can go to our website, grupovaughan.com, and we've got a Contactanos like every website, and you can send us a message. Or, as you know, we always encourage you, te alentamos, we always encourage you to stop by in person. And if you're in Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, Vigo, Valladolid, Valencia, Santander, or Zaragoza, we'd love to see you. Stop by. You do not need an appointment, and you can get a free level test. And as well as the free level test, you can get an really important, I guess this is the most important part, an evaluation of where you are on your English journey, tu cruzada, your English crusade, your English journey. We can help you, whether you're looking for courses or whether you're looking for materials at our vaughantienda.com. Well, in today's pop quiz, we were taking a look at something, as I said, from my third book. This book is The Milk 2. Comes with audio like many of our materials, if not all of them. All right, let's see how you guys did here. Now, the first one in today's pop quiz. You have to rhyme 3 words here. So, I want you to rhyme en este orden, así sabemos que lo estamos haciendo bien. I want you to rhyme a word with barba. Okay? Tuve una alumna una vez que dice, I like your barb. I'm like, yeah, right. Barb. Sounds like Barbara, right? Barbara Bush. Qué bárbaro. Anyway. Barba in inglés. So all you have to do here is put rhymes with, rima con, barba. The second one, rhymes with pájaro. That's number 2. This is still number 1, but there are 3 parts to number 1. So today, really, you have 3, 4, 5 challenges. But I know you can handle it. Number 1, rímame una palabra con barba. Número 2, rímame una palabra con pájaro. Número 3, rímame una palabra con oso. Oh, I know you hate me, but you're going to love me after. All right, that's number 1. You've got 3 parts. Number 2, use un sinpa in context. Un sinpa, o hicimos un sinpa. As I said in the audio, I don't recommend you do that. And the last one, what I want you to do is use the word apogeo, auge. Okay, in English, we looked at that. Damian said that there was a video game and had a very, very creative, I love that. That's one of the cool things. Once you understand those double meanings, those plays on words, you'll start to understand movie titles. Because remember this, just like in Spain, script writers, screenwriters, what do they all want? They want to sound good. They want to be, creative writers. They want to play with the language. They want to be witty, ingenioso, right? So they're always playing with, le damos un nombre que tiene que ver con, claro. And all you have to do is look at the Paw Patrol, chase, persecución, o perseguir. Marshal, mariscal, el que va de bombero. I mean, that's pretty easy. Sky, esa es fácil. Cielo, right? What's his name? Rubble, que también es el apellido de los Picapiedras. Barney Rubble. Rubble es escombros. Rubble. And his baby's name is Pebbles, right? You remember Pebbles? Chinitas. So, again, it'll almost open that third eye, if you will, no por decirlo así, so to speak, pero se dice so to speak. And then you'll start to see English everywhere. So that's your pop quiz. You've got 5 challenges today. I know you can handle it, though, folks. You guys are super students, and you prove it every single day. So rhyme a word with, en este orden, barba, pájaro, oso. Number 2, use hacer un simpa in English in context. And the last one, use apogeo o auge, same word, in context. Folks, we're going to a quick commercial break right now. We'll be right back with much more Show with No Name. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of today's Show with No Name, where we learn English with music, movies, history, fun facts, curiosidades. Yeah, we say hechos divertidos, fun facts, humor. Don't take the humor out of it. No way. I'm not interested. If you take the humor out of it, I'll say, check, please. Check, please, es sácame de aquí, por favor. No. Oh, mátame camión. Check, please. Como a mí me toca irme ya. Hey, since we were talking about hacer un simpa, and is there another way to say it? May we have the check? You can also say the bill. The check or the bill. But it's interesting because if you go to a bar and you want to order a couple rounds of drinks, you say to the bartender, do you know? This is all in my book, English Everywhere, my first book. You say, I'd like to start a tab. Porque es interesante, porque nunca en la mesa dices, can we have the tab whenever you get a chance? Cuando puedas. We don't call it, es que es rarísimo. You can say the bill or the check when you get a chance. And if you're at the bar, again, it's a very specific one. Y dices, quiero empezar, no, una cuenta, como que voy a pedir o van a pedir mis amigos. A lot of times in the United States, if you say that, I'd like to start a tab, please, they'll ask you for a credit card. Now, they won't charge it, but they'll hold on to it so you don't hacer un simpa, which we're going to take a look at right now when we look at our pop quiz answers. But right now, before we do our pop quiz, let's listen to today's Say What soundbite. Say what? What? All right. It's your Say What soundbite. Also, a quick reminder. Well, first, a round of applause. That's for Nuria, Laura, Marisol, and Anix. Why? Because they've already participated in the question of the week. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a special invitation? Would you like me to roll out the red carpet? Son dos expresiones en inglés que usamos. Are you waiting for a special invitation? Are you waiting for me to roll out the red carpet? This is an amazing, a golden opportunity to practice your speaking every week. You should all be making the most of it. Seriously. I mean, when I started doing the show, I couldn't even dream of helping you with your pronunciation, with your syntaxes. And now I do it every week. And it's amazing to see the progress that you've been making. So give it up for them. Because also this list is a list of ladies. I should say ladies because I don't know what's going on with the guys here. Are you guys shy? Tímidos? Don't be shy. No one's judging you. Nadie te va a juzgar. Not in my class. So again, Nuria, Laura, Marisol, Anix, not just for this week, but for being constant week after week. Great job. If you want to participate, it's real simple. All you have to do is record a voice note. I know you know how to do that, right? We all have WhatsApp and we chat with our friends. So you got to send a voice note, a 1-minute voice note, to alonso@grupovon.com. alonso@grupovon.com, and you'll be able to work on your expressing yourself in English, and I can help you. So get it to me before Thursday evening every week, and we'll hear from you every Friday on our Question of the Week section. All right, but right now it's not time for Question of the Week. It's time for the Say What soundbite for the first time.
The very inappropriateness of our being together was to me the sign that it was appropriate, that we were two parts, however remote, of this society, of this life. One was sensuous and life-loving, it seemed, while in the center of it there was a darkness and a tragedy that I didn't know the dimensions of at that time.
All right, there you go, amigos. The good thing, I think, the guy uses some pretty big words, very eloquent. I'll give you my take. An eloquent individual, right? And an individual who seems very sure of himself. Seguro de sí mismo. We say the same thing. Look, that's my thoughts. But I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you heard in your best English. All right, let me give it to you for a second time. Here we go.
The very inappropriateness of our being together was to me the sign that it was appropriate, that we were two parts, however remote, of this society, of this life. One was sensuous and life-loving, it seemed, while in the center of it there was a darkness and a tragedy that I didn't know the dimensions of at that time.
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. what time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mhm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah, wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así de gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damián, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the shit. Hey, I know that ad as if I had made it myself. And yes. All right, well, amigos, that is from This Book is the Shit. Again, if you don't have my 5 books, it's okay. But I guarantee they are worth their weight in gold. And you can pick them up at vaughantienda.com. Remember, if you're looking for courses, that's grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados. I highly recommend all our courses. And if you've never taken a course with us, you are missing out. All right, let's go on over to our chat room over here, our virtual classroom, and we'll see who's on board representing all the show with no-namers who tune in all around the world. Born to Iron Man, there he is, ready to rock. He says, morning show with no-namers. How are things going? Can't complain, man. All good in the hood, como decimos. Todo bien en el barrio. All good in the hood. Born to Iron Man. Great to have you with us, Ambassador, Embajador. There's Pink Mouse DJs. What's up? Great to hear from you, buddy. He's a great, great student. I know it because he's been with Fitz, and I've known you for a long time. How's it going? Great to have you on board. He says, good morning to all of you guys. Good morning to you. He says, let's get ready to rock. I love your attitude. He also says, what a great job you did, dudes. Awesome book and audios. Incredibly useful. Thank you so much. Remember, everything we do here at Vaughn is with you guys in mind. You know, and I know I've worked not only on the processes of my books, but of other books I've worked on. And I know Jimena, her whole team, our editorial department, our publishing department, if you will, they really, really go out of their way, se esfuerzan. They go out of their way to make sure they make materials that are helpful, fun, exciting, useful. And that's what you'll find in all of our materials, whether it's one of my books or phrasal verbs, or maybe you're just preparing your B2 exam. We've got you covered. I highly recommend, though, one of my things I always recommend is the translation book. That, I mean, you've got it all in there. Every structure, every vocabulary word that you'll probably use. So, and it's, I mean, it comes with audio, which is key, as I said, because you want to pronounce, make sure you're saying it correctly, because you don't want to develop any bad habits. And because if you start saying it wrong, it's going to be hard to correct it. So that's why it's always good to make sure you listen to it as you're doing a translation. That's why the books come with audio. So thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Pink Mouse DJs. There's Chris Valrol. How's it going, Chris? She says, morning, dear people. Firstly, I hope you're doing better. I hope you are on the mend. Poniéndote mejorcita. She says, beard rhymes with weird. Correct. Bird rhymes with herd. Correct. Bear with pear. Very good. And then she says, maybe to do a runner, no, maybe doing a runner. So eso es un ejemplo de lo que hablaba antes. En español, hacer un simpa, we say maybe doing a runner. Entonces ahí cambiamos, en vez de infinitivo, como en español, empleamos el gerundio. So maybe doing a runner is not a good idea. Great job, Chris. To do a runner. No es la que dijimos en el audio, pero sí que se usa, right? To do a runner. I remember when I worked in restaurants in New York City, the waiters, the servers, the bartenders, if somebody did it, we would say, I had a walkout. Tuve unos que se fueron, no? A walkout. We need to prevent walkouts. So in the industry, if you're working on the other side, at the restaurant, it's called a walkout, usually. No, they walked out, they didn't pay. Okay, en el contexto no es como, bueno, they walked out. Salieron de, no, this in that context means they walked out without paying. And in New York City, well, when you've got a high volume place, you got to keep an eye on people. Everybody thinks they're smart. Huh. So to do a runner, I love it. Great one, Chris. Let's see. Pink Mouse DJs. The guy wears a weird beard. Very good. I would say, though, he has. Más natural. En vez de wears, ¿no? Llevar puesto. So the guy has a weird beard. Muy bien. The next one. I heard a bird say a word. Great. You rhymed 3 words with it there. The next one. Those bears love pears. Wow. Pink Mouse DJs. You are on fire, buddy. And then he said, last night we did a dinner dash at that bar. Well, no, we don't say dinner dash. Now, acuérdate, el juego se llama diner dash. Pero se llama to dine and dash. So last night we did a dine and dash, o más común, we dined and dashed. Right? Lo puedes usar como verbo. At the bar. I hope that's not based on a true story, as I said. And the last one, I had my soccer heyday in the 90s. All right. The only thing, heyday is una palabra. Right? Aunque son 2 palabras. Hey, how you doing? H-E-Y y day, pero van en una, okay? In my heyday. Y si te cuesta esa, ¿sabes otra forma de decirlo? I'm in my prime. Estoy en mi mejor momento. When I was in my prime. Right now, I'm in my prime. I feel like I am. That's a great feeling, isn't it? Y sabéis que hay una bebida energética de estas que se llama Prime, right? Pues it's a good way to remember it. Prime. En tu mejor momento. All right? And heyday, pues, as Damian said, it's the name of a game on your phone where you have to move hay. You work on a farm y tienes que mover paja o heno. So you get the double meaning there. Hay is H-A-Y, for example, right? H-A-Y. Okay? It's a great play on words. Heyday, apogeo. H-E-Y-D-A-Y, todo junto. And heyday, día de paja, día de heno. We also say a roll in the hay. Have you seen Young Frankenstein? Jovencito Frankenstein? No? In la famous scene, es echar un polvo, a roll in the hay. A little bit different than hitting the hay. Have you heard this one? We looked at it in the sleep episode of FYI. To hit the hay means to ir al saco, right? To hit the hay. In fact, you know what? I just wrote that down. I'm sure we'll see it in an upcoming Double Trouble. All right. Well, great job, everybody. Wonderful job. Now, we've got a lot of stuff to do, so we are going to move on right now to today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
All right. Let's take a look at today's spelling bee over here, my amigos. Round one is hellish. De demonios, no? Don't you say that? De demonios? Hellish, del infierno, right? But the thing is, there are always people who figure it out. And those people are usually, well, you know who you are, people. I won't mention any names. Born to Iron Man. But you know who you are. All right. Are you ready? Here is round one. Now, this is cutthroat. Cutthroat is super competitivo, super difícil. But don't worry if you don't get it on the first go, because you will have another opportunity where I'll say it at a more normal pace. Un ritmo bastante más normal. All right. So the first one is let's capitalize the first letter of every word, blah, 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 as I always say. Okay. SHANGHAI, comma, space, CHINA. The second one is OSAKA, comma, space, JAPAN. The third one is PARIS, comma, space, FRANCE. The next one is MONTREAL, comma, space, CANADA. The next one is CHICAGO, comma, space, US. The next one is NYC, comma, space, USA. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Whoa. That was fast. If you got that, well, incredible. Let's see if anybody got it. Born to Iron Man says, can't you see my post? Nope. Well, the ones I read, no, I guess you were censored, Born to Iron Man. He says, I posted again. Nope, nothing here. Well, as I said, the ones I read, the Good Morning Show with no namers, but I don't see any more except the ones I'm reading. So, you're being censored, sir. Let's take a look over here. He's not being censored in our spelling bee. You can't stop him. He's unstoppable. Let's see if he got him. The first one is correct. The second one is also correct. The third one is correct. The fourth one is correct. The fifth one is also correct. And the sixth one is perfect. Wow. Born to Iron Man, you never let me down. Nunca me decepcionas. It's incredible, dude. Incredible. I really went brutally fast. So congrats. Let's see. Chris Valrol says, referring to our Say What soundbite, she says, I heard a well-spoken man who talks about appropriate things, darkness, tragedy, but I don't have the gist of it. All right, well, it's a tough one. It's a tough one without knowing the context. But yeah, you're on point there. Darkness, tragedy. You got some of the key words, which I think is the most important part. And remember, you're going to hear it another 2 times. So don't worry at all. Let's see. Born to Iron Man says, have you cleared your beard? Perfect. Oh, I guess if you separate them, it works. Then he says, bird is the word. So it's sung by the Trashmen and the Ramones, Los Ramones, on Surfin' Bird. Absolutely. Then he says, seeing a bear is rare here. Excellent. Wow. Wonderful job. He also says, you shouldn't do a dine and dash in any restaurant. Excellent. And the last one, the 16th century, añadido una X, was the Spanish heyday. Great job, buddy. Thanks for the extra effort. And F you, YouTube. Thanks for nothing. Why are you censoring an English class? Seriously, it's just like, I don't want to say it, but where are we? In Germany? 1940s? What's going on here? We can't talk freely in an English class? Jeez Louise. Just not good for your case, alphabet, as they're called. So great job over there. Pink Mouse DJs is referring to today's Say What soundbite today. And he says, I'd say it's a British man speaking about something regarding group sports, but not really sure, to be honest. Well, it doesn't have to do with group sports. All right, well, let me tell you something. I'll tell you, it's about a relationship. He's talking about a relationship he had. Maybe that'll give you a little more context because, of course, this is taken from a longer interview. So the gist of it is the guy is talking about a former relationship he had, an ex-lover, okay? Let's see. So great job, everybody. So much participation. Wow. But right now, we've got to go to a quick commercial break, amigos. Time really flies when you're having fun. When we come back, we'll take a look at our homophones. We've got our Say What soundbite again. We've got round 2 of our spelling bee, movies, music, and so much more up ahead. So, if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back. It's time for part 3 of today's show with no name. That's right, we're in the second half. Also, great job, Chris Valrol. Also got our spelling bee on the first go. So great job, Born to Iron Man and Chris Valrol. Incredible. Also a shout out to Pink Mouse DJ, kicking ass today. Great job, folks. And that's for everybody who's not here. That's for everybody who tunes in later. Those of you who listen from the gym, those of you who listen at night, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No matter how you tune in to the show with no name, I really appreciate it. You can learn English with so many people out there. There's so many different places to learn English, and you have chosen to learn English with us here at Vaughn Radio. And we value that. That's why you are in good hands. The best hands. With Fitz. Right before this show, you got Fitz. I mean, he trained all of us. He's the best we got. You got Richard Vaughn, for the love of God. For Christ's sake, como decimos. probably the greatest English teacher in the land. And you can be with him every day for free here on Vaughn Radio. And after this show, there's a really good show. It's hosted by my friend Jimena Holiday, but I can't seem to remember the name of the show.
Jimena will test your English. Yes, she'll test your English. Jimena will test your English with Nacho. Wow. That's right, Test Your English is on Vaughn Radio every day at 12:30 with Jimena and Nacho. Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, it's homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's homophones only on the show with no name. And let's see if you can figure out today's words. Let's see if you're A, familiar with them, and then B, if you know if they sound exactly the same or not. The first word is justo. You know, you can say in English just. Yeah, justice. That was a just decision. Te lo juro. Pero como muchos dicen just, evítalo. Right? Justice. No, justice. Just. Y no es justo. It's unjust. Your decision was unjust. But I'm looking for a different way to say it. So, justo, imparcial. También si hablamos de your complexion, your skin, okay, then we're talking about pálido, blanco, okay? And it also means feria. Vámonos pa la feria, cariño mío. Love that. Me, you know, my daughter and I, we are feriantes. You know it. And, well, my wife, she lives with the, if you can't beat them, join them. Si no puedes con ellos, únete a ellos. She's a good sport. ¿Cómo nos aguanta? All right, so that's the first word. It's got a lot of uses. The second word is tarifa, precio, pasaje, billete. También es comida. Yeah. Y I've used this one too. Irle, ¿cómo te ha ido? No, I say it sometimes. Let's see, vamos a ver cómo lo habéis hecho, cómo os ha ido. I said, let's see how you did. Well, there's another word I use too. Let's see how you, and that's the second one. So the good news about these two words, they're really rich words. Son palabras con muchos usos, which is amazing. All right, so those are your homophones. Also, let me give you the Say What soundbite for the third time.
The very inappropriateness of our being together was to me the sign that it was appropriate, that we were two parts, however remote, of this society, of this life. One was sensuous and life-loving, it seemed, while in the center of it there was a darkness and a tragedy that I didn't know the dimensions of at that time.
All right, there you go, my amigos. Again, I've given you a little context. He uses some pretty big words. As we said, the person's eloquent, but I think he's pretty easy to follow. All right, let me give it to you for the fourth time.
The very inappropriateness of our being together was to me the sign that it was appropriate, that we were two parts, however remote, of this society, of this life. One was sensuous and life-loving, it seemed, while in the center of it there was a darkness and a tragedy that I didn't know the dimensions of at that time.
Do you know about Vaughn groups? Well, I'm going to tell you all about them. They are group English classes that you can do via video conference or in person. And the good news is you can start whenever you want. And you can keep the same timetable, teacher, and classmates throughout the whole course. And the best part, there's no strings attached. Sin compromiso. And if you act now, you can get a 5% discount for paying up front. And if you stick with the course for 6 months, you'll get a 50% discount in June. Wow, what a deal! As if you needed more reasons to learn English with Vaughn. Check out our Vaughn groups. Have fun and make friends as you learn English. Sign up now while there are still spots available. Call us 911-385831. Or you can go to our website, grupovon.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media and find out if Vaughn groups are for you. More information about Vaughn groups, just go to grupovon.com/cursos destacados. All right, let's take a look at your homophones over here. Let's see. The first person to participate is Born to Iron Man. The words are correct, sir. And he says they sound alike. Daniela, hello, Daniela. Great to have you with us. She gives us the correct words, and she says they sound exactly the same. What about Chris Valrol? Let's see what she has to say. She says they're homophones as well. Oh, so all three of you. I mean, we're talking about some serious students here. And Chris, so Born to Iron Man, Daniela and Chris say these words are homophones. Well, then I'm not even going to argue with them. Then they're definitely homophones. Imagínate que no. Yeah, they are. They are. No, they are. The first word, fair. I'm trying to be fair. We already said just is another way to say it, right? Fair, air. Suena como aire. Remember, we're talking about rhyming words. Air, dare. I dare you to go to the fair. Te atrevo a ir a la feria. Okay? Now, since you have fair skin, la piel pálida, blanca, clarita, you have fair skin. Well, maybe you should put on some sunblock, right? I think that's fair. Creo que eso es justo. Before you go to the fair. Wow, that is a really, really powerful. I'm going to write that one down. The guy with fair skin went to the. Es que tenemos un double trouble ahí gritándonos a la cara. So, fair. Say it with me because I've heard a lot of students say fair, right? Fair. Air. Quitamos la F, es air, aire. So, fair. The second word, F-A-R-E, is how much it costs, the ticket, right? What is the taxi fare to JFK? Okay, la tarifa. So let's look at it. The best way to look at it in context. Kyle, es el ejemplo de word reference. It's not, okay, we're going to say it. Kyle Miller from Drive Time paid his fare and got out of the taxi. I think that was fair. Hey, playing with words. Okay. Let's see, another one. Remember how a lot of times I'll say, let's see how you did. Well, sometimes I say, let's see how you fared. Let's see how you fared. Eso es F-A-R-E-D. So there you go. Wonderful job. Yes, they are homophones. All right, let's look at round 2 of today's Spelling Bee, my amigos. Here it is. The first word is S-H-A-N-G-H-A-I, comma, space C-H-I-N-A. The second one is O-S-A-K-A, comma, space J-A-P-A-N. The third one is P-A-R-I-S, comma, space F-R-A-N-C-E. The fourth one, M-O-N-T-R-E-A-L, comma, space Canada. The fifth one, CHICAGO, comma, space US. The sixth one, NYC, comma, space USA. Esa es fácil, ¿no? All right. Well, folks, if you didn't know what these places are, these are the most popular world fairs ever. The World Fair is la Expo Mundial. Okay, la Feria Mundial. We just looked at that word. Suena exactamente como F-A-R-E, right? See, there's a method to my madness. So this is fair that we look at the word fair when we're talking about the World's Fair. And the reason we're looking at the World's Fair is today in 1965, the 1964-65 New York World's Fair closed after 2 years and more than 51 million attendees. Attendees are asistentes, right? Attendees, because they attend the fair. You want to know something? A little Alonzo family history? My dad worked there. My dad's one of his first jobs in the United States. He lived in Queens, where it took place. You guys have definitely seen Corona Park in Men in Black. ¿Te sabes el parque de Men in Black that has the big globe? That's where the World's Fair was. Okay. So what I decided to do in honor of the New York World's Fair, which left a huge legacy, was to look at the largest ones of all time as far as attendance is concerned, or as far as attendees, para ver esa palabra otra vez, are concerned. Number one, and the first two are Asia. Es que Asia juega con otros números. And in the first position is Expo 2010, which was in Shanghai, China. That was our first word. And that had 73 million, a little over 73 million visitors. The next one was Expo 1970. So fíjate, fue más popular en los 70 que algunos más recientes. 1970. And that was in Osaka, Japan. We don't say Japan, we say Japan. And the attendance there, a little over 64 million attendees. The third one was Paris, France, the Paris International. That was in 1900. ¿Te lo puedes creer? O sea, 50 million people got together in 1900. Now it's kind of normal, right? Not in one time, but went to this event. 50 million. The next one was in Montreal, Canada. Montreal, Canada. And that was in 1967. It had around 50 million visitors. The fifth one was Chicago, United States, the Century of Progress, they called it. It was 1933 and 34, and that had 48.6 million attendees. And the sixth and last one is the one we're talking about. No, it's not the one. It's the 1939-1940. So it was an original one that was before the one my dad worked at. And that one had 45 million visitors. That was 1939, 1940. And you know which one is in sixth place? Oh, no, that was sixth. Seventh place? Sevilla, Sevilla, Sevilla. That's right. In 1992, I was there. Yo estuve. And they say 41.8 million people attended the Sevilla World's Fair. So there you go. Great job to everybody who participated in our spelling bee. All right, let's move on. We've got a party to get to, folks. It's famous birthday trivia.
Birthdays for you. Birthdays for me. Birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Oi, oi, oi. Birthdays for him. Birthdays for her. Birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's famous birthdays here on the show with no name. Let's see if you know who's celebrating a birthday today. And our first birthday boy was born today in 1960. What does he do? Fijaos, que me como la H de he. No digo, what does he do? Digo, what does he? Does he is does he. Cómete la H y sonarás como nosotros, honestamente. What does he do? Dilo en voz alta. What does he do? What do you do? Not do you, do you? What do you do? What does he do? What does she? Does she? No nos podemos comer la SH, pero se une. Well, this guy's a theater director, producer, and choreographer. He's best known for directing the film version of the very successful Broadway musical Chicago. Y ya sabemos del audio de This Book is the Milk Too, que no es Chicago, no es Michigan, right? It's Michigan, Chicago. Hombre, si lo vas a pronunciar en inglés, digo. So, yes. Also, he's won many awards. He's been nominated for everything. He also directed the films Memoirs of a Geisha, also Pirates of the Caribbean, On Stranger Tides, esa, Into the Woods, classic, Mary Poppins Returns, and the new Disney, well, not new anymore, but the newest Disney live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. Yeah, we don't make new movies now. We just make remakes. But this guy is a legend. Speaking of legend, this woman comes from Hollywood's heyday, apogeo, an American actress and singer who was born today in 1918, and she passed in 1987. And in the 40s, she was one of the top stars in the golden age, the prime, the heyday of Hollywood. She also was in the movie Gilda, which I imagine you say Hilda, The Strawberry Blonde, The Lady from Shanghai. Hey, we mentioned Shanghai before. You'll Never Get Rich, Cover Girl, and man, so many others. And speaking of another legend, this last birthday boy was born today in 1915, an American playwright. So tenemos muchos del teatro hoy. Well, you know, I'm a theater lover, along with my mother. And this guy wrote some of the classics here. The Crucible, the one about the Salem witch trials. Death of a Salesman, es un clásico. De hecho, se llama Willie Lowman. Lowman, hombre bajo, que no es él no es importante en la historia, right? All My Sons, Death of a Salesman, The Crucible, The Misfits, and I think his greatest achievement, even though he's written some amazing stuff, his greatest achievement was being married to Marilyn Monroe. Now, if you look at this guy, I can't judge anyone, but he's not the most attractive guy. But that just goes to show you, eso te demuestra, Marilyn Monroe was attracted to smart guys. Why? Because she was really smart. She had such a collection of books. She really was a curious person. She had a crush on Albert Einstein. So just to give you an idea. But a lot of people thought it was a weird relationship, you know? All right, we've got a winner. Please give it up for Chris Varrol. Number 1, Rob Marshall. He's done Chicago. He's done so many other things. Rob Marshall. Number 2, Rita Hayworth from Hollywood's heyday. And last but not least, the amazing writer, Arthur Miller. Arthur Miller. And that'll bring us to our Say What soundbite. This is Arthur Miller talking about his relationship with Marilyn Monroe. Remember, in English, no, it's Marilyn Monroe. It's Marilyn Monroe. And he says they were very, that very inappropriateness, que no era, nadie pensaba que era apropiado, no conveniente, of our being together, de estar juntos, ella y yo, was to me the sign, la señal, that it was appropriate. Si todos no estaban de acuerdo, sabía que estaba haciendo algo bien. We were two parts, however remote, of this society, of this life. One was sensuous and life-loving. And he says, it seemed, pareció, that she was sensuous, no sensu, right? And life-loving, le encantaba vivir la vida. While in the center of it, cuando el meollo, lo que realmente, there was a darkness, una tiniebla, una oscuridad, and a tragedy that I didn't know the dimensions of at that time. And he's talking about the one and only Marilyn Monroe, his ex-wife. All right, this is Arthur Miller.
The very inappropriateness of our being together was to me the sign that it was appropriate, that we were two parts, however remote, of this society, of this life. One was sensuous and life-loving, it seemed, while in the center of it there was a darkness and a tragedy that I didn't know the dimensions of at that time.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is. No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. Name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name.
That's right. It's Name That Lyric here on the show with no name. And this one is from Chicago, the musical Chicago. The name of the song is Funny, Honey. I love it. Well, we can look at the words funny, money, honey. They all rhyme. And before we were looking at how important it is to find rhyming words. Why is it important? Because that's how we learned them. They would say bird, word, which one doesn't fit in? Right? These typical questions you get when you're taking a test. We had to do that. So I highly recommend to really, really get the pronunciation of a word, look for rhyming words. We do it all the time when we take a look at our homophones section. So here we go. Let's take a look at the lyrics. If you want to get them up on your screen, it's called Funny Honey, and it's from the musical Chicago. And she says, sometimes I'm right. A veces tengo la razón. Sometimes I'm wrong. A veces no tengo la razón. But he doesn't care. Pero a él le da igual. He'll string along. And to string along, piensa, string es una cuerdecita. So if you're stringing somebody along, you keep them waiting. No, me sigue el rollo. Le puedo engañar. Le puedo como coger, think about it like a leash, like a dog. I'm stringing you along. Are you playing with my emotions? Are you stringing me along? Great phrasal verb that we can get from this song. So, but he doesn't care. He'll string along. Me seguirá el rollo. Seguirá siendo el engañado, right? He loves me so. Me quiere tanto. That funny honey of mine. Ese chico, cariño gracioso mío. Sometimes I'm down. Sometimes I'm up. A veces estoy melancólica. Sometimes I'm up de subidón. But he follows round like a droopy-eyed pup. Me sigue por todos lados like a droopy-eyed. So droopy-eyed is con los ojos caídos. You know when they make them, when you see a little cat or a dog, they got those droopy eyes. O sea, como un perrito me sigue. So this is from Chicago. It's called Funny, Honey. We'll be right back with the fourth and final part of today's show with no name. I hope you guys are having a blast.
For her first number, Miss Roxy Hart would like to sing a
Stick
song
around.
of love and devotion dedicated to her dear husband, Amos.
The bonus episode of FYI on Marilyn Monroe, available to Show It No Namers exclusively. So, folks, if you want to learn more about Marilyn Monroe, here it is. Exclusive bonus episode of FYI. Enjoy. Hello, 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 and welcome back to this, the bonus part of today's FYI on Marilyn Monroe. And just a quick reminder, because you guys have got quite a collection of content by this point. But remember, don't get overwhelmed. The idea is not to memorize every word in every episode. The idea is to expose yourself to English as much as possible. Real English. And that's the English I like to serve up over here. However you slice it or dice it. ¿Qué profe te va a enseñar esa? Pongas como lo pongas. Why? Because those are the expressions I like to know in Spanish. So it's really about putting myself in your shoes. You guys say ponerse en la piel. We say en los zapatos. All right, so let's get back to Marilyn Monroe. I know you guys want to hear all about the juicy details, about all her different affairs. Well, of course, she had affairs because every guy in the world was knocking on her door, so to speak, including JFK. Now, up until a couple years ago, the JFK rumor was just a rumor. But a few years ago, they published a conversation which confirmed that JFK and Marilyn were having fun together, as we would say. They were sleeping together, but I doubt there was a lot of sleeping going on. And you'll hear how sexy and sultry she sings Happy Birthday to President Kennedy. We'll play that clip at the end of the show. But as if that weren't enough, the President of the United States having an affair with Marilyn Monroe, the most beautiful woman to ever walk the planet, his brother had an affair with her as well. That's right. Little Bobby Kennedy as well. The Kennedys couldn't get enough of Marilyn. Again, up until a couple years ago, this was all speculation, but this stuff has been pretty much confirmed by reputable sources. And I want you to pin that. To pin that is, guarda eso para luego, the Kennedy connection, because it'll bring us to some of the conspiracy theories as well. This is going to get interesting. Also, Sinatra. Now, there's another one that he says they were just friends and they never had a physical relationship, but they had a close enough relationship where Sinatra gave her a dog. And do you know what the dog's name was? Mafia. How subtle. Really? Really, Frank? Well, pin Frank Sinatra there too, because his name's going to come up a little bit later. But you know what? We're talking about her as she's some kind of strumpet who's having affairs with everybody. But she was no blonde bimbo. No way. Well, first, you don't get to where she got by being stupid. You get there by being smart, being bold, going after what you want. She seemed like a go-getter. A go-getter is alguien que va a por lo que quiere. But she wasn't just a ditzy, dumb blonde. She was an avid reader. That's right. You heard correctly. She was a bookworm. They found over 400 novels in her home. So she loved to read. And when she was asked about which guys she would want to sleep with, do you know who was first on her list? You're going to crack up. Albert Einstein. So it seems like Marilyn Monroe was turned on by intelligence. To be turned on es que le pone, no? And well, Arthur Miller, obviously Albert Einstein, you don't get much more brainy than that. And by the way, if you haven't listened to our episode on Albert Einstein, give it a listen. And her thing, como decimos, her thing for Albert Einstein was real. She had a piano in her home, and there was a silver framed picture of Albert Einstein. Did you know about that? The Albert Einstein Marilyn Monroe connection? I know if you hear both of those names, you think iconic for different reasons. But really, they were both brains. One was more known for it, but the other one loved to develop her brain and read. And I think that's wonderful because I think a lot of people get the wrong idea about her. And we mentioned before that she was investigated for being a communist, and that was for backing up her then husband, Arthur Miller. Her political views were always very left-wing, very liberal. And because of this, she was monitored by the FBI. So wait a second. If you guys are keeping track here, Walt Disney, John Lennon, Marilyn Monroe. I mean, is there anybody who's not being followed by the FBI? Oh my God. Well, yeah, it turns out her house was bugged. Actor Michael Irving moved into the home in the 1970s, and they discovered, and I'll use his words, a sophisticated government-grade eavesdropping and telephone tapping system that extended into every room of the house. So eavesdropping is to listen in on a conversation. And as we said before, a wiretap is una escucha. So they were extremely interested in what Marilyn Monroe had to say. Oh, and have you guys seen the movie Breakfast at Marilyn's? Oh, wait, that's not the title. It's Breakfast at Tiffany's, but you call it Desayuno con Diamantes. Well, the reason I called it Breakfast at Marilyn's was because if Truman Capote, the writer, had his way, si saliese con la suya, it wouldn't have starred Audrey Hepburn. To star es protagonizado por. It would have starred, you guessed it, Marilyn Monroe. And Capote, Truman Capote, wasn't at all thrilled with the studio's choice of Audrey Hepburn. He wanted Marilyn Monroe, but as you know, in life, you don't always get your way. But it would be interesting to see that movie with Marilyn Monroe as the star. What if? Marilyn was also a huge fan of music. She loved music, and specifically jazz music, which was pretty big around that time. And if you guys are familiar with Ella Fitzgerald, if you're not, you got to stop what you're doing right now and listen to Ella Fitzgerald. My wedding song is her song, At Last. Marilyn Monroe had a huge deal to do with making Ella Fitzgerald known. Now, Ella Fitzgerald was talented. No one's going to take that away from her. But Marilyn convinced the Mocambo nightclub. Now, the Mocambo nightclub was basically the place. If you played there and you got an audience, you would make it big. And everybody knew that. And they didn't want Ella Fitzgerald. She didn't have the look that they were going for. That's incredible how someone can be so talented and they say, sorry, kid, you're too short or you're too overweight or whatever. And so she convinced, she being Marilyn Monroe, the owners to let Fitzgerald play. And they listened. Marilyn Monroe, speaking of getting their way, she got her way more often than not. And she got her way. And this opened the door for Ella Fitzgerald to be seen by mass audiences. So maybe you could say that the reason we know Ella Fitzgerald all over the world today is because Marilyn Monroe bet on her and said, listen, I vouch for this person. Yo pongo la mano en el fuego. And it's a great thing she did because I can't imagine what my wedding song would be. Another celebrity connection over here. One of the last people, supposedly, we're going to get into a lot of supposedly now when we get into the conspiracy theories, but supposedly a 25-year-old Warren Beatty was attending a party. It was a party that was at Peter Lawford's house. Peter Lawford, it was JFK's brother-in-law. And this is when he met Marilyn Monroe for the first time. And she asked him to take a walk along the beach with her. And imagine Warren Beatty. He goes to a party, young guy, 25 years old, and the most famous actress, leading lady ever says, hey, you want to take a walk on the beach? Now, he claims, and I'll use his words, it was more soulful than romantic. Well, you know what the sad part was? Her death was announced the next day. So Warren Beatty was one of the last people to see her alive. Now, there are also reports that Bobby Kennedy was in Los Angeles at the time of her death. Again, there are a lot of unanswered questions. What we're going to look at here in this section, again, is not the answers, but the questions. And you can search for the answers, and there are so many videos, articles about Marilyn Monroe's death and theories that, well, a lot of them actually make sense. So let's take a look at these theories. Now, first things first, why was there evidence destroyed? I mean, key evidence was either destroyed or missing. Why? Right there, see? I didn't even tell you anything yet, really. I just gave you the tip of the iceberg. And doesn't it smell fishy already? Why was evidence destroyed? Why were organs destroyed? Her organs, that's key evidence when someone overdoses, right? Another way to say to overdose is to OD. So there were a lot of contradicting stories. The coroner second guessed his initial report. So the coroner is the person who does the autopsy. And he said, okay, no, I'm going to change my mind. And that happened with a lot of the people that were near. In fact, one of the weirdest people in this story is the maid. A woman, you can look her up. Her name is Eunice Murray. She was the maid / housekeeper, but she was also her doctor's right hand, her helper, the person who would keep an eye on the patients. And she was the one who discovered Marilyn Monroe's dead body at home. But when they arrived on the scene, she was acting very erratic. She was doing laundry. Like, you don't have like the most famous person in the world dead and you're doing laundry. Also, there are conflicting stories over what time she called the police, what time they arrived. So it seems like nobody can get the story straight. It almost seems like people are trying to mix us up so we don't know what happened. Because this woman changed her story as well, just like the coroner. Why do people change their stories? Were they coerced? Were they blackmailed? And as always, we're going to look at motive. Anytime there's a crime, you have to look at motive. Who's the person or the entity that has the motive to do that crime? And we say in English, just follow the money. So here's another crazy fact. Now, we said it was ruled a barbiturate overdose. Nevertheless, there were no pills in her stomach. Nope. No pills or traces of the drugs in her stomach, which means that these barbiturates were either injected or a suppository. But it's weird because there were empty pill bottles all over the floor. And she had the phone in her hand. I mean, it looked very, very staged. So all these inconsistencies, I'm just giving you a few. There's so much content on the internet about this, how documents were changed. And so then let's look at the motive. Who would have a motive to get rid of this person? And is it possible that they said that she was just so mentally ill and so addicted to drugs that she finally took her own life? Well, I should say, let's go against the conspiracy theories for a moment. She had already attempted suicide twice. Her first known suicide attempt was in 1950, following the death of her agent and romantic partner at the time, a guy named Johnny Hyde. Another known suicide attempt of hers was after one of her miscarriages with the baby. So, okay, it's in character of her to maybe take her life or to overdose. But then why are all these anomalies there? Why are there all these missing pieces and all these holes in the stories? It's the part that makes you, as I said at the beginning of the show, it makes you do a double take. No, mirar dos veces, como que, what? Whoa, wait a second. So, was it foul play? Did she commit suicide? Foul play es que alguien ha matado, juego sucio. That means somebody killed her. So, who would have a motive? Well, as I said, she was friends or lovers with Frank Sinatra. And he had mob ties. We all know that. Él tuvo vínculos a la mafia. I mean, remember what the dog's name was? Mafia. And sure, a little bit of alcohol, some sex, maybe some secrets get out. I don't know. So maybe she knew too much about the mob. But then I said the Kennedys too, right? Maybe she knew too many political secrets. Maybe she was just getting too much inside information, and she was rubbing elbows with some of the most influential people in the world. And I imagine that scared some people. They saw her as a liability. Because think about it, if we could never use that word better than her. She was the original influencer, wasn't she? So maybe, with one TV appearance or one article, she could take down the mafia or even expose government secrets. I don't know. I don't know how much she knew. But many people say that she knew too much about too many high-level organizations. Either way, I urge you guys to look into it on your own. I'd love to hear your opinions. You can leave them on Patreon. Remember, we're also on Discord. But I'd like to hear what you think. Do you think it was foul play? Or do you think it was just as the police report said? It was an overdose, an accident, accidental kind of suicide? Or was there some ulterior motive? Did somebody want to get rid of this superstar? And we know now that even though she was killed or killed herself, her legacy will live on forever. And there are so many lessons we can take from her life, I believe, about, going against all odds, against adversity, against battling depression. I didn't know she was depressed. She seemed to be smiling every time she was in front of a camera. So she knew how to hide that and show people what they wanted to see. And it's interesting because when she spoke about Marilyn Monroe, she spoke in the third person. So maybe Marilyn Monroe was a character that she created to help her deal with her mental illness. I don't know. It's just a theory. Another lesson we can learn is all that glitters isn't gold, right? A lot of times we say all that glitters is gold, no? Todo lo que reluce. But that's not always true. Behind the glitter and the flashing lights, there was a sad girl who felt neglected, who felt abandoned by the very people who brought her into this world. And as I said earlier, it blows my mind how somebody like her could be lonely when everybody was dying just to be near her, that maybe she would rub off on them. That radiant energy to rub off es tener efecto. And even long after her death, people want to be near her. You see people with Marilyn Monroe posters on their wall. They want to be around her. Even Elton John. Now, I know you guys know that song. It seems to me like you lived your life like a candle in the wind. Well, yes, it was used at the Princess Di Memorial, but that song was originally written about Marilyn Monroe. So there are so many tributes out there to her. People want a piece of this icon. Hugh Hefner from Playboy fame. He purchased the cemetery plot right next to hers. He said that the reason Playboy was a huge success was because she graced the first cover. Now, they'd never met. Throughout their life, they never, ever met. But he said, and I'll quote, this is Hugh Hefner, "I feel a double connection to her because she was the launching key to the beginning of Playboy." And when he died in 2017, he was buried right next to Marilyn Monroe. In 1962, the record was set for the most expensive piece of clothing ever sold. And that was that dress that Marilyn Monroe wore when she sang Happy Birthday to Kennedy at Madison Square Garden on his 45th birthday. This was May 19th, 1962. And that dress went for, and again, remember, this is $1962, $1,267,500. Guys, everybody wants a piece. Everybody wants to be close. And I hope I brought you a little bit closer to Marilyn Monroe in this episode. Now we're going to listen to that famous night at Madison Square Garden in 1962 when Marilyn Monroe sings Happy Birthday to then President JFK. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of FYI.
Mr. President, on this occasion of your birthday, this lovely lady is not only punctilious, but punctual. Mr. President, Marilyn Monroe. A woman about whom it truly may be said she needs no introduction. But let me just say, here she is. But I'll give her an introduction anyway, Mr. President, because in the history of show business, perhaps there has been no one female who meant so much, who has done more. Mr. President, the late Marilyn Monroe.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you. Mr. President, for all the things you've done, the battles that you've won, the way you deal with U.S. Steel and our problems by the ton. We thank you so much. Everybody, happy birthday!
Thank you so much for joining us on another exciting edition of The Show with No Name. Don't forget to participate in Question of the Week. I look forward to hearing from all of you on tomorrow's show. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you? Thank you so much, folks, and we'll be back tomorrow with more. Ciao for now.